Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Silver spot intraday look for 27.4000 analysis http ntvforex.com news ID to 6/9 8/13 2027 51:9 am gold spot bounce NBSP stay on top of the markets with Swiss Quotia S news amp analysis NBSP pivot invalidation 1906.00 our preference long positions above 1906.00 with targets at 1970.00 amp 1995.00 in extension. Alternative scenario below 1906.00 look for further downside with 1880.00 amp 1863.00 as targets. Comment the RSI calls for a bounce. NBSP silver spot look for 27.4000 pivot invalidation 24.8500 our preference long positions above 24.8500 with targets at 26.7500 amp 27.4000 in extension. Alternative scenario below 24.8500 look for further downside with 24.1000 amp 23.4000 as targets. Comment the RSI is bullish and calls for further advance. NBSP crude oil WTI expect 43.25 pivot invalidation 42.15 our preference long positions above 42.15 with targets at 42.90 amp 43.25 in extension. Alternative scenario below 42.15 look for further downside with 41.80 amp 41.50 as targets. Comment the RSI is mixed with a bullish bias. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD shorts at 7,165.75 retarget 7,125.20 analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 97337C 8/13 2027 53 am AUD/USD NZD/USD AUD shorts at 7,170.80 hit first support at 7,100 7,090 for a potential 70 pip profit so far this week. We are short again at our selling opportunity at 7,165.75. Ends dust topped exactly at our selling opportunity at 6,595 6,605 with shorts offered 30 pips as I write but outlook remains negative. NBSP daily analysis AUD shorts at 7,165.75 retarget 7,125.20. Perhaps as far as first support at 7,100 7,090. We should hold here initially but a big bounce probably unlikely now. Sell a break below 7,080 for 7,040.30. Sell at 7,165.75 amp stop above 7,195. A break higher targets 7,220. Perhaps as far as a selling opportunity at 7,235.45, with stops above 7,280. Ends dust bounced just 4 pips above our buying opportunity at 6,520.10 targeting our selling opportunity at 6,595 6,605, with stops above 6,625. A break higher targets 6,640 amp 6,670.80. Our shorts at 6,595 6,605 target 6,570 amp 6,540. Buy again at 6,520.10 with stops below 6,495. A break lower is a sell signal targeting 6,455. Perhaps as far as support at 6,420.10. NBSP trends weekly outlook positive daily outlook positive short-term outlook neutral NBSP chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US-China tensions are rearing their head again. Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID AF11448813 2027 am US stocks rallied to close near its all-time highs yesterday amid what some are saying are signs of greater confidence in the economic recovery in the US. Or perhaps EDA's just even speedier decoupling between Wall St and Main St. Nevertheless, bond yields pushed higher amid a faster-than-expected rise in U.S. inflation, whilst the market is starting to focus again on trade and tariffs. The fact that the broad stock market is at all-time highs is a testament to unbelievable amounts of monetary and fiscal stimulus. The patient is hooked, and only more drugs will do. The disconnect between the stock market and the real economy is too stark, too unjust, and too indicative of a system that continues to favor capital over labor that, sooner or later, a change is gonna come. Never mind all that for now though, stonks keep going up. The S&P 500 rose 1.4% to end at 3,380, just 6 points under its record closing high at 3,386.15, with the record intraday peak at 3,393.52. Asian stocks broadly followed through, with shares in Tokyo up almost 2%. European stocks failed to take the cue and were a little soft on the open, with the FTSE 100 the laggard at 1%, though 22.3 PTS are due to BP, Shell, Diageo, AstraZeneca, GSK, and Legal Amp General among others going ex-dividend. For a taste of the real economy, we can look at TUI, which said group revenues in the June quarter were down 98% to A75M. It's a total wipeout of earnings. But EDA's not a surprise. The business was at a virtual standstill for most of the period and was only able to resume some limited operations from mid-May. Just 15% of hotels reopened in the quarter, whilst all 3 cruise lines remained suspended. TUI posted an EBIT loss of A1.1 bn for the quarter, taking total losses over the last 9 months to A2 bn, with a 1.3 bn due to the pandemic forcing the business to be suspended. Summer bookings are down over 80%, but it has got another A1.2 bn lifeline from the German government. Shares fell over 6% in early trade. US-China tensions are rearing their head again. Officials meet this Saturday to review progress of the Phase 1 deal. White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow: the deal was a fine right now. Sticking with trade, the US is maintaining 15% tariffs on Airbus aircraft and 25% tariffs on an array of European goods, including food and wine, despite moves by the EU to end the trade dispute. Crucially, it did not follow through with a threat to hike tariffs, however it still leaves the risk of further escalation when the EU is likely to win WTO approval to strike back with its own tariffs. Yesterday, despite the optimism in the market, there was for me at least some potential signs of bad news for the real economy, not the stock market, remember, with US inflation picking up faster than expected. You can read this as the economy doing better than fared as consumers return, but you can equally take a glass half empty view and see this as a major worry that prices of essentials are going to rise whilst economic growth stagnates, which can be a cocktail for a period of stagflation. Given the enormous amount of money being pumped into the system, there is a better than evens chance we get an inflation surge, even if the pandemic was initially very disinflationary. Unlike in the wake of the financial crisis, the cash is not being gobbled up in the banking system as increased capital buffers etc., but is going into the real economy. Moreover, EDA's being done in tandem with a massive fiscal loosening. Year over year, headline inflation rose from 0.6% to 1%, whilst core CPI was up 1.6% in July vs the 1.2% expected. Food prices rose 4.6%, whilst the cost of a suit is down a lot. The risk is that inflation expectations can start to become unanchored as they did in the 1970s when the Fed had lost credibility. This led to a period of stagflation and was only tamed by Volcker's aggressive hiking cycle. Investor optimism is keeping the dollar in check. The dollar index moved back to the 93 mark, whilst the euro broke above 1.18 against the greenback for a fresh assault on January 19, twice rejected lately. Sterling is making more steady progress but is well supported for now above 1.30, however the dollar's pullback may be short-lived. Gold held on to gains to trade above $1,930 after testing the near-term trend support around $1,865 yesterday. Oil prices held gains after bullish inventory data and OPEC's latest monthly report. WTI SEP moved beyond $42 after the latest EIA report showed a draw of 4.5 M barrels last week. Meanwhile, as noted yesterday, OPEC's new report indicated the cartel will continue with production cuts for longer. In its monthly report, OPEC lowered its 2020 world oil demand forecast, forecasting a drop of 9.06 mbpd compared to a drop of 8.95 mbpd in the previous monthly report. But the report also sought to calm fears that OPEC will be too quick to ramp up production again. Specifically, OPEC said its H2 2020 outlook points to the need for continued efforts to support market rebalancing. Compliance was down, but broadly the message seems to be that OPEC is not about to walk away from the market. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. U.S. inflation reflects COVID unwind analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID C0762E813 2020 7:53:47 AM. Inflation has surprised on the upside, but we see this more as an unwinding of the strains caused by COVID-19 shutdowns rather than a signal there is a meaningful pickup in medium-term price pressures. NBSP inflation surprises on the upside. U.S. consumer price inflation came in higher than expected in July, posting 0.6% month-on-month gains for both headline and core CPI versus 0.3% and 0.2% respective consensus expectations. This leaves the respective year-on-year inflation rates at 1% and 1.6%. After yesterday's firmer than anticipated PPI report, there was going to be some upside threat, but the scale of the rise in the core measure is quite a surprise. However, we see this more as an unwinding of the strains caused by COVID-19 shutdowns rather than a signal there is a meaningful pickup in medium-term price pressures. NBSP U.S. inflation measures moving in tandem. Source macro bond, ing NBSP near-term yield curve steepening to continue. For example, apparel rose another 1.1% after the aggressive discounting of April and May concluded when retailers were desperate for cash. Likewise, transport jumped 2.9% and lodging away from home rose 1.2%. Hotels as people start to move around the country more and firms have a bit more pricing power. Meanwhile, gasoline rose 5.6% MOM, reflecting higher pump prices as a lagged response to the recovery in the oil price, and car prices picked up 0.8% MOM. With the U.S. Treasury seeking to sell $38 BN of 10Y Treasuries today and $26 BN of 30Y tomorrow, these higher inflation numbers and the recent softer tone to the U.S. dollar supports our debt strategy team's view that we see more curve steepening in the near term. However, we are not fearful of a meaningful rise in inflation over the medium term. NBSP little medium-term inflation threat. The U.S. is a service sector-orientated economy, and so inflation is predominantly driven by service sector factors. The biggest input to service sector prices is labor, and when you have more than 30 million people claiming unemployment benefits, there is likely to be a glut for quite a while. This will keep wage pressure subdued, thus limiting the upside for service sector inflation. We also have to remember that the economy is 10% smaller than it was in December, so there is a huge output gap that will limit the upside for broader inflation pressures, even if the dollar weakening trend continues. Today's inflation figure is a corrective move, but in our view the threat of prolonged higher inflation is limited. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Daily Technical and Trading Outlook. A USD CHF Analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID ADC 32B 8/13/2027 43:34 AM. NBSP Daily USD CHF Technical Outlook. Last update at August 13, 2020 0050 GMT. NBSP Trend Daily Chart Down. Daily Indicators turning up 21 HR EMA 0.912955 HR EMA 0.9140 NBSP Trend Hourly Chart Sideways. Hourly Indicators getting sold 13 HR RSI 3114 HR DMIVE. NBSP Daily Analysis Choppy Consolidation to continue. Resistance 0.9240 last week S high. Monday 0.9198 Y day S high 0.9166 Y day S Australian low. Now residential support 0.9098 Y day S low 0.9066 last Thursday S low 0.9051 last Wed S5 1-2 year low USD CHF 0.9106. Although DLR rose FM 0.9166 in Australian to a 1-week high at 0.9198 in Asia Y day, price met renewed selling and later fell to session lows of 0.9098 in New York on USD's weakness and selling in EUR CHF cross before recovering. On the bigger picture, DLR's rally FM 2018 31-month trough of 0.9188 to a 2-year peak at 1.0238 in April 2019 confirms downtrend. FM 2016 6-year peak at 1.0344 has made a low there. Despite staging an erratic rise to 2019 peak of 1.0238 in APR, DLR's sell-off FM there and then brief break of 0.9188 to a 4-1-2-year trough of 0.9184 in MAR on safe haven CHF buying signals. LT downtrend has resumed. Last week's break of 0.9184 would extend aforesaid downtrend to 0.9000. Sold reading on daily indicators would limit weakness to 0.88611 1.236 times EXT of 1.0027 0.9184 measured FM 0.9903. Only a daily close ABV 0.9363 signals low is made, then risk is seen for stronger correction to 0.9467. Today, despite DLR's resumption of up move FM last Wed S5 1-2 year low at 0.9051 to 0.9198 Y day, subsequent strong retreat suggests first leg of correction has ended and mild downside bias would be seen, as hourly oscillators readings would be in sold condition, reckon 0.9051 should hold. ABV 0.9166, 0.919398. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Technical Analysis. A EUR JPY rescued by Ichimoku Cloud. Positive course on track analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 8F4B1F 8/13/2027 28:05 AM. EURJP is tackling the fresh near 16-month high of 126.20 after a recent bounce on the cloud's upper surface repowered the positive incline. The Ichimoku lines currently reflect a pause in the ascent, while the rising simple moving averages SMAs command a clear bullish bearing. Glancing at the short-term oscillators, they too reflect some stalling in the positive momentum. The MACD, in the positive section, has marginally smoothed above its red trigger, while the stochastic lines flirt with the overbought region, barely dipping under the 80 mark. That said, the RSI is rising just above 70, promoting further advances. If buyers manage to overcome the immediate impeding 126.20 barrier, the pair may rise to challenge the critical 126.80 border from April of 2019. Improving further, the 127.49 high from March 2019 could attempt to halt the climb ahead of the 128.36 level, that being the 176.4% Fibonacci extension of the down leg from 124.42 to 119.30. Triumphing above this point, the 129.24 key peak from December 2018 may draw traders off focus. Should sellers take control, initial constrictions may occur at the 125.58 barrier and around the slightly lower blue Kijun Sen of 125.24, prior to the 50-period SMA of 125.00 located at the ceiling of the cloud. If the pair continues to fade, the crucial support section from 124.00 to 124.25, which involves the 100-period SMA and the floor of the cloud, could come under pressure. Undergoing further weakening, the price may dive for the 123.32 low before confronting another tough limiting band from 122.83 to 123.00, where the 200-period SMA resides. Summarizing, for the uptrend to continue to dictate the short-term bias, the price would be required to sustain its bearing above the SMAs and the 124.00-124.25 region. Improving above 126.80 may repower this positive outlook. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD buying opportunity on a break below 1.2950. A Westpac ntvforex.com news ID C30AF6 6 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. A break of 1.2950 would signal a deeper correction is in play, potentially targeting a reversal back to 1.26-1.28. A great buy opportunity ahead of FOMC meeting on 15 September 16, according to economists at Westpac. Key quotes: the eye-popping 20.4% collapse in UK GDP emphasizes the vulnerabilities in the UK economy, especially if COVID case counts continue rising across Europe. NBSP GBP looks to be in a technical holding pattern as what looks like a short-term USD correction evolves through August. We still tend to see that move developing into an opportunity to sell USD into the September 15, 16 FOMC outcome. However, it is quite possible that the correction could go further. NBSP for now, key support at 1.3020 and then 1.2950 remain intact, but a break of that lower level would signal a deeper correction is in play, potentially targeting a reversal back to 1.26-1.28. We would use such a dip as an opportunity to buy ahead of the Fed's possible move to average inflation targeting a NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Oil is ready to jump above $50 analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID B2FA15813 2028 06:54 AM. Despite the very cautious growth of oil, the situation more and more resembles a compressed spring ready to shoot up at any moment to the area of $50 per barrel of American WTI and $53 per Brent. Despite some stoppages and slippages, there is still an upward slope in global markets. The world economy continues to recover from the spring slump, without significant grounds for prolonged pressure on financial markets. Of course, the situation is still much worse than at the beginning of the year. However, the monetary policy in recent months was mild, nourishing the hunt for yielding assets. Restrictions on oil production have shifted the balance of power towards demand in the U.S. Fresh data showed a decline in crude oil reserves for the third week in a row, by 22.5 million barrels. This decline is slightly ahead of seasonal trends. Commercial stocks are now 16.7% above last year's level, compared to 20.5% that we saw 3 weeks ago. The strategic oil reserve also shows a symbolic decline. Last week oil production fell to 10.7 MLN barrels per day. Except for 1 week in June, this is the lowest figure since May 2018. Data on the number of drilling rigs in operation also confirm the trend of a decline in the activity of oil workers. Last week the amount fell to 176, a new low since 2005. The total number of rigs fell to 247, continuously updating historic lows, giving energy market share to other producers. At the same time, inflation in the USA, as well as in the whole world, has already reversed upward. Yesterday, the US data surprised with a spike in the core price index excluding food and energy. This is often a sign of healthy consumer demand, which is very controversial these days. Yet in any case, inflation is spurring the price of oil and other commodities. Multiple increases in oil prices often accompany periods of higher inflation, and we may well be at the start of one of these periods. The short-term technical picture also seems bullish. The WTI price was quickly redeemed at the end of July after touching the 50-day moving average and is now approaching a 200 DMA, which is currently acting as a resistance. However, the submission of the bears and the exit above $42.75 might trigger further buying, quickly taking the price to $48 and may even test $50 next month. For Brent, significant levels of attraction are in the $47 200 DMA and $54 highs of March and lows of February area, where the price may move in September. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD/JPY still looks to a move above 107.00 AULB. http ntvforex.com News ID 198CEC 1 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano. The upside momentum in USD/JPY is forecasted to push the pair beyond the 107.00 level in the next weeks, noted FX strategists at ULB Group. Key quotes 24. Our view for USD yesterday was that barring a move below 106.15 minor support is at 106.30, USD could extend its gain to 106.90 before a pullback can be expected. Our view was not wrong as USD rose to 107.01 before easing off. Overbought conditions coupled with waning momentum suggest that 107.01 could be an interim top. From here, the pullback from the high has room to edge lower, but any weakness is viewed as part of 106.45–107.00 range. In other words, a sustained decline below 106.45 is not expected. Next 1-3 weeks. We highlighted yesterday that upward momentum is showing sign of improving, but for now, the prospect for a clear break of 106.60 is not high. However, the sudden surge in momentum came as a surprise as USD soared to a high of 106.68. The rapid improvement in momentum suggests USD is likely to trade with an upward bias. From here, USD could strengthen towards 107.15. The next resistance at 107.50 is likely out of reach for now. Overall, only a breach of 105.85, a strong support level, would indicate the current upward pressure has dissipated. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. A weaker NZD against a stronger AUD. Video analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 6C1BF7813 15:25 AM. Listen to the latest market mood for the Audidenst pair. NBSP AUD strength. Australia's employment change data showed some encouraging signs for Australia's job market. Julia's data showed an addition of 114.7k jobs and 43.5k of these were full-time. The unemployment rate also came in lower at 7.5% vs the 7.8% expected. NBSP NZD weakness building on the RBNZ's dovish picture yesterday. Deputy Governor Baskan said that the resurgence of the virus in New Zealand is a big risk. He said that the RBNZ will probably combine negative rates with funding for lending programs if more stimulus is needed beyond yesterday's $40 billion QE extension. This should mean a weaker NZD against a stronger AUD for today's session. Therefore expect buyers on pullbacks on the AUD pair. We expect this trade to play out between now and the next 3-4 days. Trade risks if we see any very negative US-China news that will weigh more heavily on the AUD than the NZD and will invalidate this outlook. NBSP learn more about HYCM NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. TUI swings to a 1.46 BN loss, as European shares slip back on stimulus doubts. Analysis http://ntvforex.com News ID 7D787D8132028 14:30 am. After 2 days of solid gains, European markets have got off to a fairly subdued start, slipping back a touch on the back of some light profit taking, ahead of this afternoon's latest weekly jobless claims numbers from the US. Despite this week's optimistic tone, there remains an undercurrent of concern about the prospect for any sort of agreement between U.S. policymakers after Nancy Pelosi expressed skepticism that a deal could be reached quickly, saying that Democrats and the Trump administration were miles apart on a new fiscal plan, with little prospect of any new negotiations bearing fruit in the near future. GVC Holdings' latest numbers also pointed to a sharp shift to online as the company saw a 11% decline in net gaming revenue in the first half of the year. This knocked gross profits down by 13% to just over $1 billion. Despite a sharp decline of 50% in UK retail like-for-like revenue, due to the closure of stores, online NGR rose 21%, with gaming rising by 31%. This helped boost earnings by 53% to a 368.6 m, which in turn helped to offset the much bigger hit to UK and European retail revenues. As a result, profits after tax came in flat year-on-year at a 2.1 m, with management expressing optimism for the rest of the year now that sporting calendar has resumed. Assuming no further disruptions, management estimate that underlying earnings for the rest of the year is likely to be between a 720 m and a 740 m. NBSP precision engineer and manufacturing company Renishaw has also seen its business hit by the challenges of COVID-19, as annual revenues declined 11% to a 510.2 m. The challenges facing the business weren't just confined to the pandemic, as its metrology revenue was also hit as a result of the trade tensions between the US and China. Healthcare revenue was affected by delays in orders, installations, and postponements of elective surgery, due to the various lockdowns, as statutory profits fell to a 3.2 m from a 109.9 m. The company also cancelled its interim dividend and has also decided not to pay a final dividend either, while also making a number of redundancies. The decision to cut the dividend has seen the shares tumble over 5%, however they are still up over double from their March lows. Travel operator TUI's latest numbers have thrown into stark reality the challenges facing the travel industry. Coming on the back of yesterday's stabilization package with the German government, which was increased by another a 1.2 billion, we saw that Q3 revenues declined 98.5% to a 75 m as the company swung to a 1.46 billion pre-tax loss. Summer bookings were down 81%, with the company saying it expected to achieve break-even in Q4, which still seems a tall order, at a time when there are concerns about a second wave. As part of the bailout deal to shore up its finances, the company has had to get rid of 8,000 jobs, as well as half of its aircraft fleet. On the plus side, summer bookings for 2021 are up 145%. Transport provider National Express latest half-year results have also been adversely affected due to the various lockdowns. Mileage and passenger travel both fell by 80% during that period, after a good start to the year. As a result of the slump in travel, the business boosted liquidity by a 800M, including a 600M from the coronavirus corporate finance facility. The company has also put over 40,000 employees on furlough, temporarily laid off. Overall group revenue fell 23% to just over a 1 billion, as the company posted a group statutory loss before tax of over a 122M. The US dollar appears to be back under pressure again after the gains of recent days as doubts continue to grow about a US stimulus plan. Oil prices are also under pressure after the IEA downgraded its outlook for oil demand due to concerns about the outlook for air travel. US markets also look set for a bit of a pullback, after the S&P 500 came within touching distance of its previous all-time high in yesterday's trading session, and ahead of today's latest weekly jobless claims numbers, which are expected to follow the trend of fewer Americans claiming benefits. Cisco Systems' latest numbers were a somewhat disappointing affair, as the company laid out a disappointing Q1 forecast, saying that they expected a fall of between 9% and 11% from last year. On the plus side, the Q4 numbers were better than expected, but it soon became clear management had clear concerns about the outlook. The latest numbers from Vroom also missed the mark, after the newly IPO business posted a bigger than expected Q3 loss of $63.2 million. Q2 revenues came in line with expectations at $253.1 million, however Q3 guidance was disappointing, with the company estimating an even bigger loss in Q3, as well as revenue only slightly above Q2 levels. It would appear that management have overestimated the appetite for this new online car ordering and delivery model, particularly in these uncertain times. Dow Jones is expected to open 56 points lower at 27,920. S&P 500 is expected to open 8 points lower at 3,372. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. SP500 returns to new highs at a record pace. Analysis http ntvforex.com. News ID 376806 8/13/2028 11:49 am. If I was to describe the market performance over the past 6 months, the only word that comes to my mind would be a surreal. 2020 cannot be compared to any other year in terms of the brutal plunge in the S&P 500 and the speed of its recovery. During the 2008 Great Financial Crisis, it took 1,381 trading days for the S&P 500 to return to its 2007 record highs. Following the dot-com bubble in 2000, it took 1,841 trading days to hit a new record. This time around, only 121 trading days were needed for the index representing the 500 largest U.S. publicly traded companies to complete a full turnaround from a peak to trough to a new peak again. The S&P 500 was only 6 points shy from closing at a new record on Wednesday following a 54% rally since hitting a bottom on March 23. More than $10 trillion in market cap have been recovered in less than a 6-month time span. And despite more than 80% of reported earnings beating market estimates, profits in Q2 have dropped 33%, which marks the largest year-on-year decline since Q1 2009. However, the biggest difference between this recovery and past bear bull market cycles is its breadth. As of Wednesday, 282 constituents of the S&P 500 are trading lower for the year and 200 companies are below their 200-day moving average. The tech sector now represents 35% of the index weight, with the biggest 5 tech companies Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook representing almost a quarter of the S&P 500 market cap, with a total value of $6.9 trillion. These are the companies which have driven the index to retest its record highs. Meanwhile, sectors like the financials, industrials, and energy have been left behind, and the gap between them and the tech companies is getting ever wider. This tells us that the world we live in today is different from the one we saw 6 months ago, and our lives will be dominated by tech like never before, as returning to normal ways of living remains far from reach. If that statement is true, then the price tag for these tech firms is justified, despite them looking extremely overstretched when looking at current valuation metrics. However, if the big pharma firms succeed in delivering a vaccine in the next couple of months, we should see rotation from the tech titans to more cyclical ones. Going forward, expect volatility to increase as investors try to figure out whether to take profits or continue the wild momentum ride. But my concern is that without having a strong contribution from the cyclical sectors within the S&P 500, the current rally looks distinctly unhealthy. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Bitcoin price prediction. BTC USD. Bitcoin hits barriers as selected altcoins rally. ntvforex.com news ID 2126BE. 2 minutes ago, Bitcoin hits a wall under $10,600 as consolidation kicks above the short-term $11,500 support. Chainlink bulls outperform, pulling the crypto to new all-time highs and displacing BCH from the 5th position. Bitcoin price has not been able to rise above short-term barriers at $11,600. However, recovery from the levels slightly above $11,100 was steady. The largest cryptocurrency is holding above $11,500 and trading at $11,530 at the time of writing. Since the beginning of the week, the mission has been to sustain action beyond $12,000, but Bitcoin bulls lost balance, giving way to the dive towards $11,000. While Bitcoin stalls within the range at $11,500 and $11,600, some selected altcoins are seen spiking massively, even clocking new all-time highs. Chainlink, for instance, continued with the upward push for gains towards $20. The crypto assets traded new all-time highs around $17 before retreating to confirm support at $16 as discussed earlier. Chainlink also rallied in terms of market share, toppling Bitcoin Cash to become the 5th largest cryptocurrency. Other altcoins performing beyond expectations include Tezos, which recently rose to highs of $4.40, Cosmos is up 15.18% in the last 24 hours, while IOTA is trading 11.68% higher. Some DeFi projects are also doing well. Take, for instance, Maker is up 14.78%. Bitcoin technical update. The daily chart shows the price pivotal in a wide range between $11,000 and $12,000. Indicators such as the RSI and the MACD are moving sideways, in a way, confirming the possibility of consolidation taking place. Support at $11,500 remains key for the next phase of gains towards $12,000. Other support areas to keep in mind include $10,500, the main trend line continuous line, the 50-day SMA at $10,000 and the 200-day SMA at $8,896. BTC USD daily chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD CAD consolidates near multi-month lows, below mid 1.3200 http ntvforex.com news ID 000243. 5 minutes ago by Haresh Menghani, USD CAD was seen oscillating in a range below mid 1.3200s on Thursday. The USD remained depressed amid the impasse over the US fiscal stimulus. A modest pullback in oil prices undermined the loonie and helped limit losses. The USD-CAD pair now seems to have entered a bearish consolidation phase and was seen oscillating in a range near 6-month lows, below mid-1.3200s. A combination of diverging forces failed to provide any meaningful impetus to the major, instead led to a subdued range-bound price action through the early European session on Thursday. The US dollar remained depressed in the wake of the impasse over the next round of the US fiscal stimulus measures. This, coupled with a fresh leg down in the US Treasury bond yields, exerted some additional pressure on the greenback. However, a softer tone around crude oil prices undermined the commodity-linked currency the loonie and helped limit deeper losses for the USD-CAD pair, at least for the time being. Oil prices slipped around 0.50% on Thursday after the OPEC in its monthly report said that the fuel demand could fall more than expected. The statement overshadowed the U.S. government data, which showed a fall in inventories and suggested that demand is returning despite the coronavirus pandemic. Looking at the technical picture, the pair has been trending lower along a downward sloping channel over the past 1 month or so. The formation points to a well-established bearish trend and supports prospects for an extension of the recent bearish trajectory, even below the 1.3200 mark. Moving ahead, market participants now look forward to the release of the U.S. initial weekly jobless claims. The data will influence the USD price dynamics and produce some short-term trading opportunities later during the early North American session on Thursday. Technical levels to watch: USD CAD overview today, last price 1.3241, today daily change 0.0005, today daily change percent 0.04, today daily open 1.3246, NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1.3393, daily SMA 50 1.3493, daily SMA 100 1.374, daily SMA 200 1.3532, NBSP levels, previous daily high 1.3347, previous daily low 1.3229, previous weekly high 1.3451, previous weekly low 1.3234, previous monthly high 1.3646, previous monthly low 1.3331, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 1.3274, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 1.3302, daily pivot point S1 1.3201. Daily pivot point S2 1.3156, daily pivot point S3 1.3083, daily pivot point R1 1.3319, daily pivot point R2 1.3392, daily pivot point R3 1.3437, NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. A weaker NZD against a stronger AUD video analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 17/4 at 8/13/2020 8:31:06 am. Listen to the latest market mood for the Audidenst pair. AUD strength. Australia's employment change data showed some encouraging signs for Australia's job market. July's data showed an addition of 114.7k jobs and 43.5k of these were full-time. The unemployment rate also came in lower at 7.5% vs the 7.8% expected. NBSP NZD weakness building on the RBNZ's dovish picture yesterday. Deputy Governor Baskan said that the resurgence of the virus in New Zealand is a big risk. He said that the RBNZ will probably combine negative rates with funding for lending programs if more stimulus is needed beyond yesterday's $40 billion QE extension. This should mean a weaker NZD against a stronger AUD for today's session. Therefore expect buyers on pullbacks on the Audidenst pair. We expect this trade to play out between now and the next 3-4 days. Trade risks if we see any very negative US-China news that will weigh more heavily on the AUD than the NZD and will invalidate this outlook. NBSP learn more about HYCM NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AZN stock price AstraZeneca may aim higher amid after Russia's coronavirus vaccine moved. ntvforex.com news ID 2DD9 ad 1 minutes ago by Yoha Elam Lon. AZN has been advancing to a new monthly high amid optimism for a coronavirus vaccine. AstraZeneca's COVID-19 immunization scheme is considered the world's most advanced. NBSP Russia's controversial announcement has added to pressure for a NBSP speedier delivery. The tiger is in the tank, said Prime Minister Boris Johnson when referring to Brexit talks, but his focus like everybody else is on coronavirus and a vaccine for that disease. British-based AstraZeneca Lon AZN, based in Cambridge and trading also in Sweden and New York, is embarking on Phase 3 of its trials for a COVID-19 vaccine. The pharma firm is working in close cooperation with a university in another known town, Oxford. A boost for developing protection against COVID-19 comes from a country known for another animal, the bear. NBSP Russian President Vladimir Putin shocked the world by announcing his country registered the world's first COVID-19 vaccine. Rather than conducting a 30,000-strong Phase 3 test, scientists tried the solution on themselves and on the president's daughter. NBSP While scientists have shrugged off Putin's bombastic Sputnik declaration, they have redoubled efforts to produce a reliable vaccine. NBSP The AstraZeneca University of Oxford led by Sarah Gilbert reported promising results from its Phase 1-2 trial, showing safety and also providing double protection both antibodies and killer T cells. AZN's vaccine candidate has more realistic expectations, saying protection may not be for life. NBSP There is a higher chance that Brits, Americans and basically the world's population would prefer a rigorously tested vaccine produced by AstraZeneca and scrutinized by The Lancet over a rushed immunization. NBSP AstraZeneca stock news Lon AZN is trading marginally lower on Wednesday, changing hands at around 8,560 pence at the time of writing, yet remains close to the all-time high of 10,120. Support awaits at 8,380 while resistance is at 8,700. It is essential to note that AstraZeneca is a large firm, worth over $112 billion, making movements slower than in smaller companies. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Murray Math Lines USD CHF, Gold Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID E04A0981320283641 AM USD CHF, a US dollar vs Swiss franca in the H4 chart, USD is moving below 3.8. In this case, the price is expected to break 1.8 and then continue falling to reach the support at 0.8. However, this scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks 2.8 to the upside. After that, the instrument may continue growing towards the resistance at 3.8. As we can see in the M15 chart, the pair has broken the downside line of the Voltaire channel indicator and, as a result, continue the descending tendency. NBSP XAU USD, A gold vs US dollar. As we can see in the H4 chart, ZA/USD is moving not far from 7.8. In this case, the price is expected to rebound from this level and resume falling to reach the support at 6.8. However, this scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks 7.8 to the upside. After that, the instrument may continue growing towards the resistance at 8.8. In the M15 chart, the pair may break the downside line of the Voltaire channel indicator and, as a result, continue trading downwards to reach 6.8 from the H4 chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. IEA cuts oil demand forecast as outlook for air travel deteriorates. WTI stays below $43. http ntvforex.com News ID BB57B8 4 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. In its latest oil market monthly report, the International Energy Agency IEA revised down its 2020 global oil demand forecast, in the face of deteriorating air travel outlook amid coronavirus crisis. Additional takeaways: global oil supply set to fall 7.1 mbpd in 2020. Global oil supply forecast to rise 1.6 mbpd in 2021. OECD industry stocks rose by 16.2 mln barrels to 3.235 bln barrels in June, 286.7 mln barrels above 5-year average. 2020 global refining throughput in Q2 declined by 11.5 mln bpd to the lowest quarterly level in 17 years. Oil demand exceeded supply in June and there is an implied stock draw for the rest of the year. Compensation for earlier OPEC overproduction could keep world supply steady in August. Global oil supply rose by 2.5 mln bpd in July to 90 mln bpd. Upsurge in COVID-19 cases has prompted downgrade of H2 demand estimate for gasoline. It remains unclear if new COVID-19 cases herald second wave or simply a regular fluctuation. Data show aviation kilometers traveled nearly 80% down YY in April and still down 67% YY in July. Revises down 2021 crude oil demand estimate by 240,000 bpd to 97.1 mln bpd. Predicts decline of 2020 global oil demand of 8.1 million bpd, mostly due to poor jet fuel demand. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Forex technical analysis and forecast majors, equities and commodities analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID D8CF4C813 2028 4651 AM EUR USD, a Euro vs US dollar after finishing another descending wave at 1.1711 and then returning to 1.1811. Eurist is consolidating in the center of the range. Possibly, today the pair may grow to reach 1.1826 and then start another decline towards the downside border at 1.1700. After that, the instrument may form one more ascending structure with the target at 1.1800. NBSP GBP USD, a Great Britain pound vs US dollar after finishing the descending wave at 1.3100 along with the correction towards 1.3060, bust is expected to reach 1.3030, thus forming a new consolidation range between the two latter levels. If later the price breaks this range to the downside, the market may start a new decline towards 1.2900 if to the upside resume trading upwards with the target at 1.3130. NBSP USD RUB, a US dollar vs Russian ruble USD RUB is still consolidating around 73.73. According to the main scenario, the price is expected to fall to break 72.30 and then continue trading downwards with the short-term target at 70.80. NBSP USD JPY, a US dollar vs Japanese yen after completing the ascending wave at 107.00, USD-JP is falling to reach 106.40 and may later start another growth towards 106.70, thus forming a new consolidation range between the two latter levels. If later the price breaks this range to the downside, the market may start a new correction with the target at 105.95. NBSP USD CHF, a US dollar vs Swiss franc after finishing the ascending wave at 0.9196, USD is falling towards 0.9100. Later, the market may form one more ascending structure to reach 0.9150. The price is expected to form a wide consolidation range not far from the lows. NBSP AUD USD, a Australian dollar vs US dollar after completing the descending wave at 0.7108 along with the correction towards 0.7181, AUD/USD is expected to fall and break 0.7141. After that, the instrument may continue trading downwards with the target at 0.7070. This instrument is forming a wide consolidation range around 0.7171 at the top of the wave. NBSP Brent after reaching 45.85, Brent is expected to correct towards 45.26 and may later grow to break 45.90. After that, the instrument may continue growing with the short-term target at 47.00. NBSP XAU USD, A gold vs US dollar after completing another descending wave at 1867.40 and rebounding from this level upwards, gold has formed one more ascending impulse at 1950.00 along with the correction towards 1906.40. Today, the pair may grow to test 1960.00 from below and then form a new consolidation range. If later the price breaks this range to the downside, the market may start a new decline towards 1850.00 if to the upside A resume trading upwards with the target at 2020.70. NBSP BTC USD, A Bitcoin vs US dollar. A BTC USD is still consolidating around 11,400.00. Possibly, today the asset may expand the range up to 11,800.00. After that, the instrument may form a new descending structure towards 11,000.00 and then start another growth to return to 11,400.00. NBSP S&P 500 after rebounding from 3,333.0 and completing one more ascending structure at 3,385.5, the S&P index is still consolidating at the top of the wave. Possibly, the asset may reach 3,360.2 and then expand the range up to 3,395.1. Later, the market may resume trading downwards with the target at 3322.0. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Top 3 price prediction: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple. Optimism remains despite weak momentum. ntvforex.com news ID 264EFC 3 minutes ago. Sentiment level nears euphoria adds bearish potential to the crypto market. Ethereum tests $400 in the Asian session, fails at European opening. Ripple falls decisively and returns doubts to the XRP-USD pair. The crypto market continues to push upwards despite strong overbuying and over-optimism in the market. Today the Ethereum gives an unexpected change of direction and accumulates a 5% gain against Bitcoin in only 2 sessions. Ether's upward movement puts on the table a bullish terminal pattern that could take the market to levels far above the current ones. Trading in these market conditions is not as safe as the current price levels admit significant price corrections as being highly probable. If on the contrary, the crypto board decides to move up, the rise can be vertical and leave the current price levels as an anecdote. Market sentiment is unchanged from yesterday and remains at level 75, 1 point below the extreme optimism level. This level of complacency remains very high and dangerous. Clues to such a puzzle may come from the side of the dominance charts. NBSP. In the case of Bitcoin, the dominance level is now at 61.6%, and it's trying to form a technical floor. Below the 61.24% level, the positions could rotate actively towards Ether and the rest of altcoins. NBSP FBTC daily chart. The FBTC pair is currently trading at the price level of 0.0339 after a first afternoon attempt to break the resistance level at 0.034. NBSP above the current price, the first resistance level is at 0.034, then the second at 0.0353 and the third one at 0.038. Below the current price, the first support level is at 0.0328, then the second at 0.0307 and the third one at 0.0295. The MACD on the daily chart is losing its downward slope due to yesterday's rally and today's opening. The bearish cross has not undone, and the natural price movement should be downward. The DMI on the daily chart shows a bullish cross has formed on the bullish side. The bears are not replicating the downward movement, an interesting detail for the short term. NBSP BTC USD daily chart. The BTC USD pair is currently trading at $11,512 and remains above the last resistance level of $11,500. BTC USD is limited at the top by the trend line that originated in early March. Above the current price, the first resistance level is at $12,000, then the second at $12,350 and the third one at $12,500. Below the current price, the first support level is at $11,350, then the second at $10,400 and the third one at $9,500. The MACD on the daily chart continues to point downward, although yesterday's rally has softened the aggressive downward profile. The DMI on the daily chart shows bulls and bears at the same levels as in previous days, with no changes to provide information for the short term. NBSP ETH-USD daily chart. The ETH-USD pair is currently trading at $388.40 and is losing its gains during the Asian session. NBSP above the current price, the first resistance level is at $412.70, then the second at $455 and the third one at $500. Below the current price, the first support level is at $360, then the second at $320 and the third one at $290. The MACD on the daily chart continues the bearish trend that was confirmed yesterday. The most likely price development for ETH-USD is bearish. The DMI on the daily chart shows the bulls moving slightly higher, a move that the bears are replicating in a downward direction, aware of the underlying upward force in the ETH-USD pair. NBSP XRP-USD daily chart. The XRP-USD pair is currently trading at $0.2768, and this raises doubts as to the strength of the previous Ripple's rise. Above the current price, the first resistance level is at $0.285, then the second at $0.305 and the third one at $0.336. Below the current price, the first support level is at $0.265, then the second at $0.235 and the third one at 23 cents. The MACD on the daily chart shows an acceleration in the indicator's bearish trend. The most likely development for Ripple is bearish in the short term. The DMI on the daily chart shows bulls and bears about to cross. The confrontation between the two sides of the market will increase the volatility of the XRP-USD pair. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Your USD bond auction stacks the deck against the dollar. ntvforex.com news ID B9F7E5 5 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. Your USD is rising as the ancient logic of buying low, selling high seemed to work in bond markets, this time with a substantial impact on the dollar. Looking ahead, Washington's fiscal impasse, vaccine hopes and jobless claims are in play, and Forex's analyst Yohai Elam reports. Key quotes: investors sold off U.S. Treasuries ahead of the massive $38 billion auctions on Wednesday, pushing bond yields higher and boosting the dollar. Once Uncle Sam issued that debt at a relatively high yield, traders piled into bonds, pushing yields lower and taking the air out of the dollar. NBSP. The U.S. coronavirus situation is better than it used to be but is improving at a snail's pace. The old continent is better positioned. NBSP. The burning issue in Washington is the impasse on Capitol Hill. Democrats and Republicans are still far apart on reaching an accord on the next fiscal relief package. Federal Reserve officials have been urging lawmakers to act, raising their rhetoric. NBSP. Despite concerns about the U.S. economy, investors are optimistic about a vaccine, as efforts are accelerating especially after Russia's controversial announcement about developing immunization. The S&P 500 briefly hit a new high on Wednesday, and the risk-on mood is pushing the safe haven dollar down later in the day. Weekly jobless claims will provide an updated view of the U.S. economy. Applications dropped sharply last week after several weeks of worries. Another upbeat figure could help the greenback recover, but nothing is certain. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD stays bid at 4-day peaks near 1.1840. http ntvforex.com. News ID D654A4 5 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano. EUR/USD adds to Wednesday AS gains beyond 1.18. The figure. German final July CPI contracted 0.5% MOM and 0.1% YoY. US initial claims will be the salient event later in the NA calendar. The single currency is extending the upbeat mood into Thursday AS session and is lifting EUR/USD back above the key 1.1800 barrier, recording at the same time new multi-day tops. EUR/USD looks to risk trends. EUR/USD is up for the third session in a row on Thursday, extending the rebound from weekly lows in the 1.1700 neighborhood. It is worth recalling that in this contention area coincide monthly lows and a Fibo level of the 2017-2018 rally. In the meantime, investors remain focused on the U.S. political arena, where there is now news regarding the debate between Democrats and Republicans of a new stimulus bill. Also sustaining the resumption in the demand of the shared currency and the rest of the risk-associated peers appears the fresh set of positive results in Germany and the broader Eurozone Sentex index on Monday, ZEW survey on Tuesday, all supporting the view of a V-shaped recovery following the lockdown measures earlier in the year. Data-wise in the Euro bloc, Spanish CPI contracted 0.9% MOM and 0.6% on a yearly basis in July, while German consumer prices contracted 0.5% from a month earlier and 0.1% over the last 12 months. Later in the U.S. data space, the usual weekly report on the U.S. labor market is due, seconded by import-export prices. What to look for around EUR/USD pushed higher and recorded new highs near January 1920 in the second half of last week, triggering a corrective move that met solid contention in the 1.17 region for the time being. The July-August rally, while largely triggered by broad-based dollar selling and improved sentiment in the risk-associated universe, found extra sustain in auspicious results from domestic fundamentals, which have been in turn supporting further the view of a strong economic recovery following the coronavirus crisis. Also lending wings to the momentum around the euro appear the recently clinched deal on the European Recovery Fund which helped putting political fears within the bloc to rest for now and the solid position of the current account in the region. EUR/USD levels to watch at the moment. The pair is gaining 0.47% at 1.1839 and a breakout of January 1916-2020 high August 6 would target January 1996 high May 14, 2018 en route to January 2032 23.6% Fibo of the 2017-2018 rally. On the downside, immediate support is located at 1.1695 monthly low August 3 followed by 1.1495 monthly high March 9 and finally 1.1448 50% Fibo of the 2017-2018 rally. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY resistance at 107.0106 caps, support seen at 106.2520. A credit Suisse at NTVForex.com news ID 685EA 6 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. USD/JPY has been capped as expected at its 55-day average and 38.2% retracement of the fall from March at 107.0106, and analysts at Credit Suisse look for the risk to turn lower. The pair remains depressed near 106.7075 area, snapping 4 consecutive days of the winning streak. Key quotes: A. We continue to look for the recovery to stall here and for the immediate risk to shift lower again. Support is seen at 106.43 initially, then 106.2520, which we look to try and hold at first. Below 105.93 though is needed to ease the immediate upside bias, with support then seen next at 105.70, with a break here needed for a retest of 105.3327. A. NBSPA should strength extend above 107.06. We see resistance next at the late July high at 107.53, then the 50% retracement at 107.95. with more important resistance seen not far above at the 200-day average and downtrend at 108.1317. A. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Brent oil to struggle to stay above $45 AANZ. http ntvforex.com news ID BA4036 16 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. OPEC supply is rising just as demand growth hits some headwinds. Brent oil is trading above the $45, but strategists at ANZ Bank believe the black gold will be unable to maintain such level in this quarter. Key quotes: A. Rising supply risks overwhelming the fragile recovery in oil demand. The sharp rebound in demand has seen prices recover and producers grow in confidence that the market can absorb more crude. However, high-frequency data suggest the recent surge in COVID-19 cases is slowing demand growth. A. NBSPA. The easing of restrictions in many parts of the US and Europe have slowed amid a pickup in infections. Overall, we estimate demand has risen 8 mbd over the past 4 months to 88 mbd. However, this is still 13 mbd below this time last year. In the second half of the year, we expect growth in crude oil demand to fall. This will see global demand push above 90 mbd in Q4 2020. The rebound in prices over the past few months has emboldened OPEC to stick to its supply agreement by increasing output by 2 mbd in August. Whether the market can withstand the additional output will depend on demand rising in Asia. Weak margins and high inventories are threatening import demand from major consumers such as China and India. As such, we struggle to see Brent crude remaining above $45 BBL in Q3. A. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Russia S. Novak do not see hasty OPEC decisions this month. ntvforex.com news ID 5C9688 21 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta citing Russian Energy Minister Alexander Novak. The country's media agencies reported on Thursday, he doesn't expect any hasty decisions on output cuts when the OPEC and its allies OPEC meet next week. Further comments: I think no one is putting forward any hasty moves, additional proposals. We are on track, in line with the plan, in line with the approved agreement. The market is more or less stable and we are seeing gradual balancing of the market. There have been no additional proposals to change the deal between OPEC and other leading oil producers on production cuts. WTI unmotivated below $43 amid downbeat IEA oil demand forecasts and Novak's comments. WTI trades modestly flat around $42.75, consolidating near daily highs. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD climbs to session tops, eyeing to reclaim 1.3100 marked ntvforex.com news ID B5A8D2 28 minutes ago by Haresh Menghani. GBP USD gained traction on Thursday and recovered further from Wednesday AS over 1-week lows. The heavily offered tone surrounding the USD was seen as a key factor behind the paira's positive move. The near-term technical setup warrants some caution before placing any aggressive directional bets. The GBP-USD pair jumped to fresh session tops in the last hour, with bulls now eyeing a move towards reclaiming the 1.3100 round figure mark. The pair gained some positive traction on Thursday, snapping 2 consecutive days of the losing streak and recovered further from the key 1.3000 psychological mark, or over 1-week lows set in the previous day. The positive move was exclusively sponsored by the prevalent offered tone surrounding the US dollar, which remained depressed in the wake of the impasse over the next round of the US fiscal stimulus. The greenback was further pressured by a fresh leg down in the US Treasury bond yields after a record $38 billion auction. This comes amid the latest optimism over a potential vaccine for the highly contagious coronavirus disease, which further undermined the USD's relative safe haven status against its British counterpart. This, in turn, remained supportive of the intraday positive move for the GBP-USD pair. Apart from a broad-based USD weakness, the uptick lacked any obvious fundamental catalyst and hence, runs the risk of fizzling out rather quickly. Expectations that the US lawmakers will eventually reach a consensus on the stimulus measures might hold investors from placing aggressive USD bearish bets and keep a lid on any strong gains for the GBP-USD pair. Even from a technical perspective, the pair has been oscillating in a broader trading range since the beginning of this month. This makes it prudent to wait for some strong follow-through buying before positioning for any further appreciating move. Conversely, a sustained break below the 1.3000 mark will be seen as a fresh trigger for bearish traders. Moving ahead, market participants now look forward to the release of the US initial weekly jobless claims. The data might influence the USD price dynamics and produce some meaningful trading opportunities later during the early North American session. Technical levels to watch: GBP-USD overview today, last price 1.3086 today, daily change 0.0052 today, daily change percent 0.40 today, daily open 1.3034 NBSP trends, daily SMA 20 1.2919 daily SMA 50 1.2687 daily SMA 100 1.2529 daily SMA 200 1.2712 NBSP levels: previous daily high 1.3068, previous daily low 1.3006, previous weekly high 1.3186, previous weekly low 1.2982, previous monthly high 1.317, previous monthly low 1.236, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 1.3029 daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 1.3044 daily pivot point S1 1.3004 daily pivot point S2 1.2973 daily pivot point S3 1.2941 daily pivot point R1 1.3066 daily pivot point R2 1.3098 daily pivot point R3 1.3128 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD depth of UK recession highlights challenges ahead for the pound AMUFG. http ntvforex.com news ID 8E43221 33 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. The pound corrected modestly lower following the release of yesterday's UK GDP report for Q2. Euro GBP moved back above the 0.90 level and hit an intraday high of 0.9053 while cable fell back within touching distance of the 1.30 level. Economists at MUFG Bank foresee a bumpy road ahead for sterling. Key quotes: A. The GDP report confirmed that the UK economy has been one of the hardest hit by the negative COVID shock as it contracted by a record 20.4% in Q2. It was marginally better than the BOE's forecast for a contraction of 21%, although that provides little comfort. More encouraging was the stronger than expected recovery in recent months. The latest monthly GDP report revealed that activity started to rebound more robustly by 8.7% in June following an upwardly revised expansion of 2.4% in May. It still leaves the level of GDP 17.2% below its pre-COVID peak. AA lockdown measures remained in place for longer in the UK than in many advanced economies, but have eased back more notably in recent months, which should support a strong rebound in Q3. However, the expected lagged deterioration in the labour market when the job furlough scheme ends and uncertainty over the path of the virus mean that the recovery will be uneven and protracted. NBSPA. In addition, the risk of further Brexit uncertainty poses downside risks to the recovery later this year. In these circumstances, we continue to maintain a cautious outlook for the pound even after the BOE's decision to dampen negative rate expectations, which has helped ease downside risks in the near term. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD CNH extra losses seen below 6.9300 AULB. http ntvforex.com. News ID 36589F 33 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano. FX strategists at ULB Group believe USD CNH could embark into a deeper retracement if 6.9300 is cleared in the near term. Key quotes: 24. Our view: our expectation for the recovery in USD to extend higher was wrong as it dropped to an overnight low of 6.9315 before ending the day on a soft note at 6.93250.14%. Downward momentum has improved but not by much, and from here, USD could weaken towards 6.9210. At this stage, the odds for a move to the next support at 6.9050 are not high. Resistance is at 6.9400 followed by 6.9500. A next 1-3 weeks. On Tuesday, August 11th, spot at 6.9620. We highlighted that while USD could still weaken further out, for the next 1 to 2 weeks, USD is likely to consolidate and trade sideways within a 6.9300-6.9800 range. USD is currently holding just above 6.9300, and if there is a New York closing below this relatively strong support level, it would indicate the start of a period of sustained weakness in USD that could lead to a move to 6.9050, possibly even to 6.8850. At this stage, the odds for such a scenario are quite high, and only a move back above 6.9700 within these few days would indicate that USD is still trading in a consolidation phase. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD forecast: dead cat bounce. Dollar weakness looks insufficient to break down trend resistance analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 74BA93813 2029 29:16 AM. GBP USD has been bouncing as the dollar dropped after US bond yields dropped following the bond auction. Concerns about the British economy remain prevalent and may weigh on the pound. Thursday's 4-hour chart is showing downtrend resistance is looming over the pair. NBSP: the pendulum swings again, this time against the dollar, but that may be insufficient for a rally in GBP USD. Cable climbed above 1.3005, which turns into a double bottom after already having provided support earlier in August. The greenback gained ground after the US completed a massive auction worth $38 billion. Yields advanced before the offering, carrying the dollar higher with it, and then dropped, resuming the medium-term trend. Other factors weighing on the world's reserve currency include America's persistently high coronavirus statistics, the ongoing impasse in Washington over the next fiscal relief package, and uncertainty over the economy's performance. Weekly jobless claims will provide first figures for the current month and carry cautiously optimistic expectations. See NBSP jobless claims preview. If higher claims are evidence of an economic slowdown or lower a sign of an acceleration. On the other hand, the dollar pendulum could swing back up. China and the US will hold officials' talks to take stock of the trade deal, and Beijing is already hinting it has a long list of grievances and that it could move away from the deal. NBSP cable's impediments mostly come from the British side. The economy shrank by 20.4% in the second quarter, a better than expected but a devastating figure. More importantly, the government is preparing the public for a surge in unemployment. NBSP Rishi Sunak, Chancellor of the Exchequer, has been reiterating that the successful furlough scheme is unsustainable and stated that many people will lose their jobs. July's surge in unemployment claims a 94,400, more than 9 times the expectations, serves as a first warning shot. Overall, pound-dollar's advance looks like merely a dead cat bounce. GBP/USD technical analysis cable has bounced off the double bottom of 1.3005 mentioned earlier, and momentum on the 4-hour chart has turned positive, but only just. On the other hand, downside resistance that began last week is looming over GBP/USD. NBSP resistance awaits at 1.31, where the downtrend currently hits the price. It is followed by 1.3035 as the next cap after holding pound-dollar down earlier this week, and the August peak of 1.3183 is next. NBSP below 1.3005, the next level to watch is 1.2950, which was a cushion in late July. It is followed by 1.2905 and 1.2845. NBSP. More NBSP traders are looking at the shiny thing and not the big picture. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold making a bearish turn. A Elliott wave analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 646BB68132029 14:52 AM. Hello traders. Gold made a 5-wave rise, up from the beginning of 2020, and found a high at the 2075 level. Latest decline from the highs can be now part of a minimum 3-wave reversal, where leg A1 is leading the way. That said, be aware of temporary pullbacks. Wave B2 within a reversal, that can form up from the trend line, and take price temporarily higher. In case of a bigger, bearish reversal, we will be observing a 5-wave move within a downtrend. However, if price makes only a 3-wave reversal towards the 1795 level, and later starts to turn higher, then a corrective wave 4 within an uptrend may have ended, and a bigger wave 5 can now be underway. NBSP Gold, Daily NBSP. Interested in our services? Take advantage of summer sale and get 2 months for the price of 1 at www.ewforecast.com. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Ichimoku Cloud Analysis Brent, AUD/USD, XAG/USD Analysis http ntvforex.com news ID F463A68132029 0731 AM. Brent is trading at 45.51. The instrument is moving above Ichimoku Cloud, thus indicating an ascending tendency. The markets could indicate that the price may test the cloud's upside border at 44.95 and then resume moving upwards to reach 47.45. Another signal in favor of further uptrend will be a rebound from the downside border of the triangle pattern. However, the bullish scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks the cloud-S downside border and fixes below 43.55. In this case, the pair may continue falling towards 41.65. To confirm further growth, the asset must break the pattern S upside border and fix above 46.35. NBSP AUD USD, A Australian dollar vs US dollar. AUD USD is trading at 0.7163. The instrument is moving above Ichimoku cloud, thus indicating an ascending tendency. The markets could indicate that the price may test the cloud-S downside border at 0.7135 and then resume moving upwards to reach 0.7245. Another signal in favor of further uptrend will be a rebound from the descending channel S upside border. However, the bullish scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks the cloud-S downside border and fixes below 0.7105. In this case, the pair may continue falling towards 0.7005. To confirm further growth, the asset must break the resistance area and fix above 0.7205, thus completing a head amp shoulders reversal pattern. NBSP XAG USD, A silver vs US dollar. XAG USD is trading at 25.84. The instrument is moving below Ichimoku cloud, thus indicating a descending tendency. The markets could indicate that the price may test the cloud-S upside border at 26.05 and then resume moving downwards to reach 22.45. Another signal in favor of further downtrend will be a rebound from the descending channel S upside border. However, the bearish scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks the cloud-S upside border and fixes above 27.05. In this case, the pair may continue growing towards 28.55. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. WTI continues the smooth upside movement. Video analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID B43972813220290249 AM. WTI crude oil futures are moving higher with weak momentum and reached a fresh 5-month high of 43.52 in the preceding days. The MACD oscillator is showing a negative divergence, suggesting slowing upside movement that is indicating a bearish reversal on price. However, the RSI is still pointing upwards in the positive territory. A clear upside rally above the 43.52 resistance could open the way for a revisit of the 48.80 barrier, registered on March 3. Breaching this level, the market could make a pause around the 54.62 hurdle, taken from the peak on February 20. On the flip side, a decline beneath the 20 and 40-day simple moving averages SMAs could take the commodity towards the 38.73 support, which overlaps with the upper surface of the Ichimoku cloud. Beneath this level, the price could meet the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement level of the up leg from 6.46 to 43.52 at 34.65 ahead of the 29.42 30.60 support zone, which includes the 38.2% Fibonacci. In brief, WTI crude oil has been in a smooth bullish move in the short term, and steeper increases could confirm a strong positive outlook in the medium term. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US dollar remains on soft footing as US stimulus talks stall. Analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 02BB50813202942 2 AM. Notes. Observations. Standoff between Democrats and Republicans over another coronavirus relief bill showed no signs of abating. NBSP Asia Australia AUG Consumer Inflation Expectation Survey 3.3% v 3.2% prior. Australia July Employment Change 114.7 kv 25.0k unemployment rate 7.5% v 7.8%. ERBNZ Deputy Gov Baskand noted that a resurgence of coronavirus in New Zealand was a big risk to outlook. Will probably do combo of negative OCR and funding for lending program if additional stimulus was needed. NBSP coronavirus total global cases 20,550,481 1.6% DD total deaths 748.4k 1.1% DD NBSP Europe EU official the EU AMP US should intensify their attempts to negotiate a solution to ongoing trade concerns. The USA decision to not increase tariffs on EU goods avoid adding to their ongoing disputes. NBSP America's U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin noted that stimulus negotiations were going nowhere. USTR EU and member states have not taken the actions necessary to come into compliance with the WTO decision in the Airbus-Boeing case. U.S. committed to obtaining long-term resolution to dispute over aircraft subsidies will begin a new process with the EU to maintain 15% tariffs on Airbus aircraft and 25% tariffs on other European goods. NBSP speakers fixed income FX commodities Iratum equities indices STOXX 6000.26% at 374.02, FTSE 0.93% at 6221.76, DAX 0.10% at 13,045.65, CAC 40 0.08% at 5,069.47, IBEX 35 0.12% at 7,287.00, FTSE MIB 0.13% at 20,411.50, SME 0.19% at 10,298.00, S&P 500 futures 0.03%. Market focal points. Key themes. European indices open modestly lower across the board and stayed in the red as the session wore on. Better performing sectors include telecom and consumer discretionary materials and financials sectors. Among underperformers, UK CMA provisionally requiring funeral directors to provide prices. US yesterday left tariffs. Spain raised on Germany and France. Delivery Hero to replace Wirecard on DAX. Focus on U.S. initial jobless claims. Earnings expected in the upcoming U.S. session include Messiah S., Brookfield Asset Management and Alibaba. NBSP Equities Consumer Discretionary Dignity DTY.UK 7% response to UK CMA 2ETUI1.DE 6% earnings. Consumer Staples National Express NEX.UK 13% earnings. Energy RWE RWE.DE 1.5% earnings. Financials Swiss Life SLHN.CH 3% earnings. Just Group Just.UK 13% earnings. Zurich Insurance Group Zurn.CH 1.5% earnings. Aegon AGN.NL 13% earnings. Industrials ThyssenKrupp TKA.DE 14% earnings. Nordex NDX1.DE 7% earnings. Technology Wirecard WDI.DE 13% to be excluded of DAX. Telekom Deutsche Telekom DTE.DE 2% earnings. NBSP speakers. German Healthminister commented that the rise in German coronavirus cases was a concern but remained optimistic of a vaccine in coming months. EU Commission acknowledged US decision not to exacerbate ongoing Airbus dispute by increasing tariffs on EU products. Russia Energy Min Novak oil market balancing out and gradually stabilizing. OPEC JMMC Technical Committee would not discuss changes to agreement in August. IEA monthly oil report cut its 2020 global oil demand contraction from 7.9 mbpd to 8.1 mbpd and cut the 2021 global oil demand growth from 5.3 m to 5.2 m. IEA maintained its 2020 global oil supply at 7.1 mbpd and maintained 2021 global oil supply at 1.7 mbpd. NBSP currencies fixed income USD remained on softer footing in the session but contained within recent ranges. Dealers did cite the lack of progress in the U.S. COVID-19 stimulus negotiations as a factor. Talks between the Republicans and Democratic officials appeared to have stalled at this point. Dealers noted that Congress must pass legislation by September to prevent a government shutdown and saw lawmakers as opting to approve a temporary measure that would fund the government until after the election. Euro USD higher by 0.5% at 1.1835. The January 1900 area continues to be the key short-term resistance. EU inflation and unemployment data continued to point towards improvement. NBSP Economic Data 5 Finland June final retail sales volume YY 7.1% v 4.5% prelim 5 Finland June current account balance A 0.4 b v A 0.4 b prior FR France Q2 ILO unemployment rate 7.1% v 8.3% E mainland unemployment rate percent v 8.3% E to Germany July final CPI MM 0.5% EV 0.5% prelim YY 0.1% EV 0.1% prelim to Germany July final CPI EU harmonized MM 0.5% v 0.5% EYY 0.0% v 0.0% E to Germany July wholesale price index MM 0.5% v 0.6% prior YY 2.6% v 3.3% prior No Norway Q3 consumer confidence 6.6 v 3.4 prior ES Spain July final CPI MM 0.9% v 0.9% EYY 0.6% v 0.6% EES Spain July final CPI EU harmonized MM 1.6% v 1.6% EYY 0.7% v 0.7% EES Spain July CPI core MM 1.2% v 0.1% prior YY 0.6% v 1.0% prior CZ Czech July CPI MM 0.4% v 0.2% EYY 3.4% v 3.1% ECZ Czech June export price index YY 2.0% v 2.8% prior import price index YY 1.5% v 0.7% prior CZ Czech June current account CZK 1.8 b v 8.0 b is Iceland July international reserves ISK TV 1.009 t prior NBSP fixed income issuance IT Italy. Debt agency Tesoro sold total AB 6.75 versus A 5.25 6.75 B indicated range in 3-year, 7-year, and 30-year BTP bonds sold A 2.75 B versus A 2.25 2.75 B indicated range in 0.30% August 2023 BTP bonds average yield 0.08% v 0.30% prior bid to cover 1.63x v 1.57x prior July 14, 2020 sold A 2.75 B versus A 2.25 2.75 B indicated range in 0.95% September 2027 BTP average yield 0.72% v 0.95% prior bid to cover 1.43x v 1.38x prior July 14, 2020 sold A 1.25 B versus A 0.75 1.25 B in 2.45% September 2050 BTP bond average yield 1.91% bid to cover 1.39x NBSP looking ahead e.g. Egypt Central Bank interest rate decision current lending rate at 10.25% current deposit rate at 9.25% 0530 ZA South Africa June total mining production MM 1.0% EV 44.0% prior YY 20.0% EV 29.8% prior gold production YY no ESTV 20.3% prior platinum production YY no ESTV 27.3% prior 0530 WHO Hungary Debt Agency AKK to sell bonds 0600 IE Ireland July CPI MM no ESTV 0.3% prior YY no ESTV 0.4% prior 0600 IE Ireland July CPI EU harmonized MM no ESTV 0.6%. Prior YY no ESTV 0.4% prior 0600 PT Portugal Q2 labor costs YY no ESTV 6.5% prior 0600 RO Romania to sell RON 400M in 4% 2023 bonds average yield percent v 3.46% prior bid to cover XV 1.81x prior 0645 US daily LIBOR fixing 0700 CZ Czech Central Bank to comment on CPI data 0800 PL Poland June current account balance A2.2 BV A2.5 B prior trade balance A1.1 BV A1.3 B prior exports A18.2 BV A15.7 B prior imports A16.6 BV A14.5 B prior 0800 BR Brazil June IBGE services sector volume YY 12.7%. EV 19.5% prior 0800 in India July CPI YY 6.3% EV 6.1% prior 0800 UK Daily Baltic Dry Bulk Index 0830 US July Import Price Index 0.6% EV 1.4% prior YY 3.1% EV 3.8% prior Import Price Index ex Petroleum 0.1% EV 0.3% prior 0830 US July Export Price Index 0.4% EV 1.4% prior YY no ESTV 4.4% prior 0830 US Initial Jobless Claims 1.10 MV 1.186 M prior Continuing Claims 15.80 MV 16.107 M prior 0830 US Weekly USDA Net Export Sales 0900 RU Russia Gold and Forex Reserve WE August 7. No ESTV $591.8 billion prior 1030 US Weekly EIA Natural Gas Inventories 1100 CO Colombia June Manufacturing Production YY 15.0% EV 26.2% prior 1100 CO Colombia June Retail Sales YY 13.1% EV 26.8% prior 1100 CO Colombia June Trade Balance $0.4 BV $0.5 billion prior Total imports $2.8 BV $2.9 billion prior 1130 US Treasury to sell 4-week and 8-week bills 1200 CA Canada to sell 3-year bonds 1400 MX Mexico Central Bank Banxico interest rate decision expected to cut overnight rate by 50 BPS to 4.50% 1500 AR. Argentina July National CPI 2.2% EV 2.2% prior YY 42.8% EV 42.8% prior 1500 CO Colombia June Industrial Production YY no ESTV 22.80% prior 1700 KR South Korea July Export Price Index no ESTV 0.3% prior YY no ESTV 6.0% prior 1700 KR South Korea July Import Price Index no ESTV 2.5% prior YY no ESTV 7.3% prior 1830 NZ New Zealand July Business Manufacturing PMI no ESTV 56.3 prior 1900 PE Peru Central Bank BCRP interest rate decision expected to leave reference rate unchanged at 0.25% 1930 ORBAS Low in Parliament Economic Committee 2130 CN China July New Home Prices no ESTV 0.6% prior 2200 CN China July Industrial Production YY 5.1% EV 4.8% prior Industrial Production YDD YY 0.4% EV 1.3% prior 2200 CN China July Retail Sales YY 0.1% EV 1.8% prior Retail Sales YDD YY 9.0% EV 11.4% prior 2200 CN China July YDD Fixed Urban Assets YY 1.6% EV 3.1% prior 2200 CN China July YDD Property Investment YY 2.5% EV 1.9% prior 2200 CN China July Surveyed jobless rate 5.6% EV 5.7% prior 2230 KR South Korea to sell KRW 750 BL and 50-year bond 2300 CN China to sell 3-month and 6-month bills 2330 JP Japan to sell 3-month bills. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD completing ABC flat pattern in Wave 4 analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 2C511C813 2029 am. The EUR/USD is breaking above the critical 21 EMA zone. This occurred after a double bottom green box and within a super strong uptrend. WADA's next NBSP price charts and technical analysis. The EUR/USD is expected to continue with the uptrend, especially now that price action seems to have completed an ABC orange within the Wave 4 purple. The uptrend remains very strong when reviewing the angle of the long-term moving averages and the distance between them. NBSP a bearish pullback remains possible, but price action is expected to bounce and continue higher. This remains valid as long as price action remains above the 144 EMA. Only a break below 1.16 would make the bullish outlook less certain. Red X. The main upside target is aiming at 1.20 round level. NBSP the analysis has been done with the ECS.SWOT method and ebook. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Ethereum price forecast. ETH/USD dives to refresh $380 support. ntvforex.com news ID 4ADDA 02 minutes ago. Ethereum fails to hold above $390 as the entire cryptocurrency market retraces from weekly highs. ETH/USD is fundamentally ready for a breakout above $400, especially with the hash rate at all-time highs. Ethereum has been rejected once again from the resistance range between $390 and $400. Bulls had recovered most of the lost ground after ETH dived to $370 earlier in the week. However, with the entire market in gains trimming mode, Ether has been forced to join the party. At the time of writing, ETH/USD is trading at $381 because the tentative support area at $385 also gave into the increased selling activities. Meanwhile, all technical levels signal the continuation of the bearish leg. The RSI is spiraling under the oversold and may soon hit the midline. If the downtrend remains uninterrupted, we can expect losses to hit hard at the support confirmed at $370. The bearish grip is reinforced by the Elliott wave oscillator printing an extended bearish session. In case the support at $370 fails to hold, ETH/USD could explore the rabbit hole towards $350. Meanwhile, a reversal is likely to occur because buyers have not abandoned their hope for gains above $400. Besides, Ethereum is fundamentally ready to continue with the rally if not contain the price above $380. As discussed earlier, some traders are betting that Ethereum would hit $1,000 by the end of the year. In addition, the hash rate of the network has hit all-time highs owing to the increased activities within the decentralized finance ecosystem. Therefore, if the technical picture improves, Ethereum could eventually spike not only above $400 but also past $500 in the medium term. ETH/USD Daily Chart NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Bitcoin partially recovers from previous loss. ntvforex.com news ID A9A3F6 3 minutes ago. Following Tuesday, August 11, downward price action that saw Bitcoin hit an intraday low of $11,127, it appeared that the selling pressure was going to spill over the next day. Indeed, the flagship cryptocurrency opened Wednesday, August 12, at $11,392.64 and immediately began trending down. For the next 6 hours after the daily open, BTC took a 22% nosedive to reach $11,140. When considering the swing low of the previous day, it seemed like Bitcoin was forming a double bottom pattern, based on its hourly chart. Traders who saw this technical reversal formation seem to have rushed along the BTC-USD trading pair. The spike in demand around this support level was significant enough to push prices back up, confirming the AWA pattern. As a result, the pioneer cryptocurrency shot up by 4.4% to hit an intraday high of $11,630 by 15:00. Such resistance level was met with a considerable number of sell orders from those who were trying to realize profits from the upswing. The mounting downward pressure caused prices to pull back before the uptrend resumed. By 17:00 UTC, Bitcoin had retraced 1.35% and was hovering around the $11,470 support level. Given the strength of this price hurdle, BTC turned around and recovered some of the losses incurred. Prices were able to close the day at $11,568.37, with the bellwether cryptocurrency providing investors a daily return of 1.54%. NBSP Ethereum rebounds sharply from crucial support level like Bitcoin. The smart contracts giant also kicked off Wednesday's session on a negative posture. Ethereum opened August 12 at a high of $379.34, and quickly prices started to drop. By 6:00 UTC, Ether had reached a low of $366.05, representing a 3.50% downswing from the daily open. Regardless, the bulls seemed to have stepped in around this price level as ETH bounced back sharply. The second largest cryptocurrency by market cap entered one of the most significant uptrends seen since the beginning of the week. Its price surged by 6.47% to an intraday high of $389.75. By 20:00 UTC, it was clear that some investors were going to take profits after such an impressive rally eventually. As sell orders began to pile up in substantial amounts, Ethereum took a 1.78% nosedive a few hours before the end of the day. ETH then hit a low of $383.81 while sidelined investors were trying to get back into the market. The spike in demand seen around this price level pushed prices back. Ethereum entered a new uptrend just 2 hours before the daily close that saw it rise by 1.23%. ETH was able to close the day at $387.51, providing investors a daily return of 2.15%. NBSP key technical index flashes sell signals despite the upward price action seen on Wednesday, August 12. Things are not looking good from a macro perspective. On Bitcoin and Ethereum's 3-day chart, for instance, the Tom DeMark TD sequential indicator presented a sell signal in the form of a green line candlestick. Following the bull rally that began in early July, combined with the recent rejection from the overhead resistance, it is very likely that the bearish formation will be validated. If so, BTC and ETH may be poised to retrace for 1 to 4 3-day candlesticks before their respective uptrends resume. On their way down, the flagship cryptocurrency could find support around the $10,000 support level while the smart contracts giant would likely pull back towards $300. Sidelined investors might take advantage of an eventual correction to get back into the market. It is worth mentioning that there is one way in which such a pessimistic scenario can be taken out of the question. If the two largest cryptocurrencies by market cap can turn their overhead resistance into support, the bearish outlook will likely be jeopardized. Bitcoin would have to move above $12,000 to aim for $14,000, while Ethereum would have to slice through the $400 hurdle in order to rise towards $500 or higher. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. NZD/USD price analysis flirts with session lows near 0.6565 area. Remains vulnerable. ntvforex.com news ID E36E9F 1 minutes ago by Haresh Menghani. NZD/USD faced rejection near the 0.6600 and has now drifted into the negative territory. The technical setup favors bearish traders and supports prospects for further weakness. The NZD-USD pair failed to capitalize on the previous day's goodish intraday bounce from near one-month lows and faced rejection near the 0.6600 mark on Thursday. The intraday selling bias has now drifted the pair into the negative territory, with bears now looking to extend the slide towards the lower boundary of a 3-week-old descending channel. Meanwhile, technical indicators on the daily chart have just started drifting into the bearish territory and reinforce the near-term negative outlook. Hence, some follow-through weakness back towards challenging the mentioned trend channel support, currently around the 0.6515 region, now looks a distinct possibility. Some follow-through selling will confirm a near-term bearish breakdown and set the stage for a further near-term depreciating move. The pair might then turn vulnerable to break below the key 0.6500 psychological mark and accelerate the fall towards the 0.6400 round figure mark en route the next major support near the 0.6380 region. On the flip side, the 0.6600 mark now seems to have emerged as immediate strong resistance. A sustained move beyond might trigger some near-term short covering move and lift the pair further beyond weekly tops, around the 0.6625 region, towards challenging the trend channel resistance, currently near mid-0.6600s. NZD4 US dollars hourly chart technical levels to watch. NZD USD overview today last price 0.6567 today daily change 0.0011 today daily change percent 0.17 today daily open 0.6578 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 0.6625 daily SMA 50 0.6545 daily SMA 100 0.6304 daily SMA 200 0.6366 NBSP levels previous daily high 0.6601 previous daily low 0.6524 previous weekly high 0.6691 previous weekly low 0.6575 previous monthly high 0.6716 previous monthly low 0.644 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 0.6572 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 0.6554 daily. Pivot point S1 0.6535 daily pivot point S2 0.6491 daily pivot point S3 0.6458 daily pivot point R1 0.6611 daily pivot point R2 0.6644 daily pivot point R3 0.6688 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Skip to main content. FX Street. Oops, error 404. You are in the middle of nowhere. It's embarrassing. This page does not seem to exist. This might be because you have typed the web address incorrectly. Please check the spelling. Back to homepage. Report a bug. A 2020 FX Street. All rights reserved. Disclaimer note: all information on this page is subject to change. The use of this website constitutes acceptance of our user agreement. Please read our privacy policy and legal disclaimer. Trading foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to trade foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Opinions expressed at FX Street are those of the individual authors and do not necessarily represent the opinion of FX Street or its management. FX Street has not verified the accuracy or basis in fact of any claim or statement made by any independent author. Errors and omissions may occur. Any opinions, news, research, analyses, prices, or other information contained on this website, by FX Street, its employees, partners or contributors, is provided as general market commentary and does not constitute investment advice. FX Street will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation to, any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on such information. fxstreet.resource.translations Generic resources by Generic resources description FXSIT Generic resources title FXSIT Generic, language N, months Jan Feb Mar APR May June Jul Ago Sep Oct Novdis, Sponsored content, time zone UC if Google Tag Manager GTMPN69BN. Macro 91 Google Tag Manager GTMPN69BN. Macro 10. Search Ab Test X3D var tests Google Tag Manager GTMPN69BN. Macro 11. Split Active tests Google Tag Manager GTMPN69BN. Macro 12 tests. For each function B var AB. Split Active tests. Hey Zone property is 01. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. FX update weaker dollar and stronger sterling analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 7C248981 2029 49:47 am. The dollar is down for a second day, with the narrow trade weighted USD index printing a 6-day low at 93.08 to nearly fully unwind the gains seen in the wake of last Friday's US July jobs report, when we printed an 8-day high at 93.87. Some market narratives have been attributing the dollar's ebb as being a return of the currency's inverse correlation with stock market direction, along with the perception that the Fed has strategically dropped its concern about inflation risk, which has driven real U.S. yields into negative territory. These factors appear to be outweighing the improvement in the U.S. economy and downward trend in new coronavirus cases. As for Washington's tensions with Beijing, this has not been much of a concern for Wall Street, with most onlookers anticipating this weekend's meetings to review progress on the Phase 1 trade deal will go well, even though China has been lagging behind in its purchases of U.S. farm and energy goods. Among the main dollar pairings, Eurist climbed to a 6-day high at 1.1838, putting the 27-month high seen last Thursday at January 1917 back in the scopes. USD-JP extended a moderate correction from yesterday's 3-week high at 107.03, posting a low at 106.57. The yen was more mixed against other currencies, with EUR-JP remaining buoyant, just off the 16-month high that was pegged yesterday at 126.23, while AUD-JPY traded softer after the cross peaked at a 3-week high yesterday. The Nikkei 225 hit a 6-month high, which followed a strong close on Wall Street yesterday, with the S&P 500 finishing just a whisker below a record closing peak. European stocks have opened lower, with GER30 holding over 13,000 at 13,025 and the UK 100 trades down around 6,200. AUD edged out a 2-day peak at 0.7188. Australian July employment data showed a forecast smashing 114,700 rise in the headline, while the June figure was revised higher, though lockdowns across the country are now blighting the immediate outlook. USD-CAD settled just above Wednesday's 6-month low at 1.3227. Sterling is trading mixed, edging out a 2-day high at 1.3092 against the dollar, while also gaining on the yen and Aussie dollar, but holding steady to softer versus the euro and some other currencies. Yesterday's preliminary UK Q2 GDP data showed a gargantuan 20.4% QQ contraction to confirm the technical definition of recession following Q1's 2.2% shrink. The data was not a surprise given the lockdown that was in place to varying degrees throughout the quarter. June GDP rose by 8.7%, however, with June production data showing a robust rebound and beating expectations in the main headline readings, while high-frequency data and a myriad of anecdotal evidence point to a strong rebound in the current quarter. The government's furlough scheme has greatly limited the impact on the employment market. We have been talking down the pound, to a degree, having seen limited scope for the currency to sustain its recent patch of outperformance. The bull last week delivered a warily upbeat outlook, though with localized lockdowns and most media doing their utmost to maintain maximum fear of a second wave of coronavirus infections, we take a circumspect view of the outlook over the coming months, anticipating a plateauing in economic rebound momentum. Manchester, Preston, Bradford, and Aberdeen are back in lockdown, and there is a number of new travel restrictions with other countries. The furlough scheme will end in late October, which is likely to trigger a wave of job losses, particularly in the airline, retail, and hospitality sectors. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Silver price analysis. XAG/USD remains trapped in a pennant, awaits range breakout. ntvforex.com news ID A7CB26 7 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. Silver consolidates in a tight range around $26 this Thursday. XAG/USD awaits fresh impetus for a range breakout on 1H. Path of least resistance appears to the upside for the metal. Following wild swings witnessed on Wednesday, silver XAU/USD has entered a phase of consolidation around the $26 mark this Thursday. The white metal is in search of a fresh direction after having crashed to $23.50 levels a day before. Are investors looking for a bullish reversal confirmation? Let's take a look at XAG/USD's hourly chart, where the price is teasing a pennant breakout at the $26 level. The relative strength index RSI is flatlined just above the midline, still keeping buyers hopeful. An hourly closing above the aforesaid resistance will confirm the pattern, opening doors towards the horizontal 200 hourly simple moving average HMA at $26.64. Further north, the bearish 100 HMA at $27.13 will be challenged to confirm a bullish reversal. Alternatively, the immediate downside remains capped at $25.75, the confluence of the horizontal 21 HMA and bearish 50 HMA. Acceptance below the latter could trigger a fresh slide towards the rising trend line support at $25.39. XAG/USD hourly chart. XAG/USD additional levels. XAG/USD overview today. Last price 25.97 today. Daily change 0.36 today. Daily change percent 1.41 today. Daily open 25.54 NBSP trends. Daily SMA 2024.16 daily SMA 5020.47 daily SMA 10018.08 daily SMA 20017.6 NBSP levels. Previous daily high 26.28 previous daily low 23.44 previous weekly high 29.86 previous weekly low 24.03 previous monthly high 26.21 previous monthly low 17.76 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 25.2 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 24.52 daily pivot point S1 23.89 daily pivot point S2 22.24 daily pivot point S3 21.04 daily pivot point R1 26.73 daily pivot point R2 27.93 daily pivot point R3 29.58 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors.